We've got the lowdown for you on your favorite soap opera Days of Our Lives. Plus, Thaao Penghlis and Leann Hunley join us live right here in the studio. It's AfterBuzz TV's Dishin Days coming up next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Well, happy Sunday, all of you Days of Our Lives fans. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin Days, where we give you a full recap of NBC's #1 hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by my wonderful, fully loaded gaggle of gals.
Fully loaded.
Giles.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
So many things I could say to that.
We have the social media extraordinaire,
Michael Mattis.
Yay!
Where's my applause, Ryan?
I know. He needs it today.
Yeah, gets none, Gaga. And of course, we have the newest edition with us.
Our baby.
Hi everyone, I'm Chelsea Overrocker. Love being here.
And of course, the ever so beautiful.
Aww.
Hey y'all, Tammy Gavea.
Oh, and hey, it's me, Tony Moore. Did
It's
I say
you.
that at the beginning?
It's
I don't
you.
think I did. Well, thank you. If you guys are watching us live, thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days on Instagram and Facebook, and _ Dishin Days on Twitter. The @ is always implied. If you are a lover of soap operas, make sure you tune into our other soap opera recaps. We have Restless Wrap for Young and the Restless and GH Report for General Hospital. And a big shout out to Mr. James Lott Jr., who is live right now with Michelle Stafford, who is in the house, talking about all the lowdown that is happening on
YNR.
on Young and the Restless right now. Yes, and she looks gorgeous.
She does.
So shout out to my chocolate twin. If you are listening to us on iTunes, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave 5 stars. And also leave a comment. We want to know that you like it and love it and want more of it. And now, what did we think of this week's episodes of Days?
It was a good week, really formative. I think things are starting to unravel between Stefan getting framed, finally. And Lonnie's onto it too. I'm liking her role as a detective this week. She's like on
She's back to work.
She is. She's on to Kate and Ted. She's like, okay, what's going on here? Good work. Good work.
Yeah.
For me, it was boring until Friday. Friday.
Wow.
Or was Friday? Friday was the day that Jack and Eve happened, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the best day for me.
Yeah.
The rest of I texted you. I was like, I'm bored.
Yeah. It was like Z's.
Yeah. Tammy, go back.
I thought it was a great week all the way around. I loved the way it started out with the confrontation, the showdown between the two Susans.
Yes.
I did like the okay. I did
Yeah, and that
was
just kind
great.
of set the week for me because I was just like, oh my god, what's going to happen? So I was good with it.
I thought this week was okay. I think I maybe shouldn't watch Days of Our Lives like late at night because I caught myself like, oh, it's a commercial. Let me just. And then I woke up and I was like, what happened? So
Yeah.
that was it for me.
Note to self.
Note to self. Note to self.
No midnight days.
But I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to give you a full recap. It's now time to start Dishin Days.
Okay.
Yes.
Turn it over.
Yay! Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's kick things off with the argument heard around the Salem Inn. We've got Jack, Eve, Jennifer, JJ, Xander, and Dr. Shaw.
Can we just start with Dr. Shaw?
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
Henry.
First of all, shout out to his name is Andre.
Kabazi.
Yes.
Ooh, Mr. Kabazi.
And hopefully he's watching. I sent him a little message. I was like, hey, tune into our show because we're going to be talking about this week.
Yes.
It was like, hint, hint, we're going to be talking about you.
Yes.
So if you're watching, shout out to you.
Hey.
But Dr. Shaw.
Dr. Shaw. You know, because it started on Friday, my heart just breaking for him.
Yeah.
Because Jennifer, you could see it.
I mean,
it's like,
my
you
heart-
know this is going to happen.
My heart broke for him during their first conversation when he was agreeing to go out with her.
Yeah.
Because I was like, don't do it.
I know,
Don't
he just
do
gets
it.
lured in by the Jennifer.
And it happened all over again.
I know.
He's such a good guy. I'm thinking, I like Jennifer, but I'm like, no, Jennifer, don't do it. He's that guy that you just always feel bad for. Nothing's wrong with him. He's perfect. He's happy.
No, yeah.
I'm like, does anyone belong with him on this show? I don't know. But yes, poor guy.
Some of the fans were saying, you know, we love him. He doesn't have to be in a relationship. Just keep him on
Right.
the canvas, have him mingle. I love that.
Oh,
Let him
that's
mingle
good.
with
Right.
other people. So,
And then if something happens
Mingler.
organically, if he ends up having chemistry with
yeah.
a lady or or a man.
Yeah, right?
You know, let it happen.
Yeah.
And we talked about this last week, I was just like, oh my God, please don't bring this man back in order for him to get dumped again. Lord and behold, it was literally like a repeat. He always asks Jennifer out. She agrees. She starts like dwindling off about something else other than him, and then it's like, okay, it's not gonna work, and then it's like, I'm sorry, but this is how I really feel, and then the first time is cute, the second time is like, okay, the third time is like, girl, like, make a decision.
I know.
Make a decision. Okay, so what I did, because I like the character of Dr. Shaw, I wish they would just make him like reoccurring or something like that, but I decided to ask our Dishin Days fans who they think, since Jennifer didn't want him, who they would pair Dr. Shaw with. Surprisingly, I got a lot of Hope.
That's what I was gonna say.
You were gonna say Hope?
I was gonna say Hope. I was like, out of anyone on this soap, I was like, who does he belong with? Hope is great. I don't like her and Ted together. Ted and Kate, more of a fan with them. But Hope is great. I think they would make such a good couple together. I was a fan of that, so I agree.
I thought just putting two people together, just looks-wise, that sounds so shallow, Kate and Dr. Shaw would look great together.
Okay.
I think, well, not that they wouldn't make a good couple if it happened, but I think Hope needs some time alone. I think too. Hope needs to work on Hope.
Hope should have been with Aiden. Hope should have been with Aiden.
Well,
Hope should have been with Aiden.
But Hope needs to be with Hope right now.
Yes.
For a while, hopefully.
Hope with Hope.
We also got, someone put Maggie.
You know?
You never know.
Go, girl.
Someone put Chloe.
Nothing wrong with that.
Someone put Chloe. A couple of people put Eve.
Chloe.
And then our very laughable Mark J. Freeman said Melanie Jonas.
I love Melanie.
I forgot about her.
Yeah.
I was like, who?
You know. Oh no, actually, that wasn't the kicker. This is the kicker. Ann Milbauer.
Ann.
Yeah.
I miss her curls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ann.
So I started the hashtag Justice for Dr. Shaw because I feel like, you know, he got the short end of the stick one too many times.
3 times.
I honestly think that if they had went in that direction, I think him and Jennifer would have made a great couple.
Oh yeah.
She just never allowed it to happen.
Right.
So there's that. Jack and Eve and Jennifer.
About time, honestly. I'm glad that Jack is seeing Eve for who she is. I was all for that fight. I was like, yeah, you divorce her. And
it was good. That was a good
fight.
I was hoping that Eve would redeem herself on some level because she's been in this corner before where she's talked her way out of things. And I thought maybe the moment will happen where she'll somehow be able to talk herself out of this scenario. But then when she grabbed the vials and she was threatening to like, you're done.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no coming back from that.
I had a thought when Jack was saying, like, he wanted to take the serum, and she's like, oh, I'll administer it. I was like, okay, she's gonna... I thought she was gonna find a way to switch it before she gave it to him. Like, how's she gonna do this? Well, but then we found out that it had already been switched with Xander.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite Salemite right now.
He knows his way around the laboratory.
He just gets in the laboratory.
He just keeps getting every little hat on how to learn something.
Yeah.
Leverage on people.
Yes.
He goes around town just getting leverage.
So I had a moment where I was just kind of like, you know, maybe Eve is really being sincere and really wanted Jack to remember you know, his past, and she didn't feel so threatened. And then I was disappointed when she switched it. And then I was just kind of like, you know, at what point are you going to feel like you have him? And it's like, you're not, because you will never feel comfortable. You will if this marriage kept going, she would have to scheme the entire time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In order to make it happen.
It was the same scenario with Brady.
Not sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, with Brady, keeping all those secrets. Yeah. I mean, there were so many lies. Eventually, something was going to catch up. That's just her MO. Because she's so scared and insecure.
Yeah.
But I thought the argument was...
He got so emotional.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's that moment where, like, it's the last straw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he's been very observant about her. And I think her destroying the diary, which...
Seriously?
Like that was stupid. Right in the middle of the hotel room.
I know.
Yeah.
Starting a fire.
Exactly.
Well, take it outside.
No
first
alarms
of all,
going off in the hotel. The smoke alarms.
And it's like, don't do it where Jack could just come in whenever he wanted, because he did, or whenever he,
Yeah. She was all emo and not thinking it out.
Yeah, she's desperate.
Desperate.
So that's it then. There's not another copy.
No, I don't think so.
That was the original.
That was the original.
You'd think so would make a copy, though. Something that serious that could get memories back. Hello.
I bet you Xander made a copy.
Yeah,
Xander's smart enough. He made a copy. He's got a copy of it somewhere.
But also just... oh my God! I pulled a Mark J. Freeman. I just forgot. Oh, all of his work. Like, that was his diary with, like, not only
his
the formula,
notes.
but just, like, notes on stuff. Like, you kind of need that.
Yeah, that's
What were you going to say?
Eve.
I'm sorry. I cut you off. You forgot.
No, I was just thinking if they made the serum and the antidote, the laboratories got to have records of it somewhere.
The laboratory.
Somebody
Like
typed
a
it all
file.
out.
Oh,
A
yeah.
file, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere. But like you were saying, it's the original.
She still shouldn't have burned it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But I'm glad Jack caught her. I was waiting. I was like, when's he going to come in? There he is.
Yeah, maybe Kayla would get involved too, like, because once Jack ends it with Eve, then maybe she would have some type of copy or something with the files, like you said, saying, well, you can still get your memory back, and then maybe it'll be like this more emotional thing with JJ there, Jennifer there, while he's doing it too. So maybe they'll just replay it.
But Xander did make the serum for her. Like, even though she went to him and said, let's get the fake one, he still went and got the actual serum. So she still, and told him. So, he has a chance.
Jack does, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here's what I was hoping.
Did I miss something? I missed something, didn't I?
Well, it's just, hopefully the biggest thing is Xander has copy of the formula, because right now the only thing that we have is Eve holding up that vial, and if she smashes it and there's nothing else, then that's it.
But Kayla...
But I'm just thinking, I don't know if the hospital or something, if Kayla would find records.
They should, because she made it for Will.
Yeah, exactly.
So on file, they should have the serum and the antidote.
If they follow procedure, which the hospital really isn't known to do.
Right.
Listen, when you can have Kristen and DiMeras in a ponytail walk around in a nurse's uniform.
Like, we can't find her.
And no one can spot her.
I was kind of hoping for that moment. So the diary's burning. Eve looks like she's going to smash all the serum and antidote. I was kind of hoping for a moment, and maybe it'll still come, where Jack starts to get the memories back, thinking that it's the serum.
Oh, it's like a
before
psycho...
he finds out that it's a placebo.
Yeah.
That he starts getting memories back on his own.
Well, someone in the chat room, mentioned, how can Eve trust that what Xander gave her is actually the placebo and not the actual what if he was like, oh yeah, this is the placebo, but it was really just to stick it to her.
Wow,
that would be good.
I didn't even think about that.
That'd be good.
That's
I don't know. It's, fans in the chat room.
That's good chat
imagination.
stuff.
There was also the in this whole mix, JJ. Jack went to JJ and told him that he took the serum and not to tell Jennifer.
And JJ got all emo.
I know. Those scenes with Matt Ashford and Casey Moss are just always, they always are just good. I'm always like, oh. And Matt Ashford, the way he becomes so vulnerable.
Totally.
The way Jack becomes so vulnerable around JJ. It's something. It's great to watch. But then JJ turns around. First thing he does when he sees Jennifer.
I love
took the serum.
After Jack said, don't tell your mother.
He's like
whatever.
Got it. And then he's like, oh, by the way, well, because he doesn't want his mom to go on date with Dr. Shaw. He's like, look, you gotta know what's going on. This is so I think that's really why he did it, because he doesn't want his mom to make a mistake, and then he could just see a whole love triangle happening. So I think he's trying to prevent something that could potentially happen. So he's being a good son.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he's got his mom's back.
Yeah.
Just because Jack says, don't tell your mom. He's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mom!
I can't help but love JJ.
Which I love.
JJ, you just see him and you just want to be like, I just want to hug you.
I know.
He's such a good guy now.
You want to be like what?
I want to hug him.
We want
How though?
I just want to be like,
Our podcast listeners, this is squeezy.
Well, because when he first came on the show, I hated him. Like, he was such a bratty
Well, he had
a-hole.
addiction issues. It was Teresa's fault. That was
that's
such a great storyline, remember?
I forgot.
Oh,
Such a good
him and Teresa
storyline.
were great.
So
Him and
good.
Teresa were great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
love you, Jen
still
Lily.
like them together.
Have that baby
But
soon.
I've liked the evolution of JJ.
Yes.
Now he's a stand-up man. Mm-hmm. Mans, yeah.
And I love him and Haley.
Mans.
Yeah.
Love him.
But we'll get to that later.
That's another one, right?
That's another thing.
Okay.
All right, so that was that. Let's get on with the Nicole storyline.
This one had a lot this week. It was kind of all over the place.
Well, first off, we'll take it bit by bit. Mm-hmm. Susan.
Real Susan.
The real Susan.
Sister Susan. Sister, what was
Sister
Mary Myra.
Sister.
Which, by the way, again, like if you guys didn't tune in to our interview last week with Stacey and Paul, please make sure you check that out because
Yes.
Stacey is just phenomenal in the way that she plays Kristen as Susan and then the real Susan. Because I don't know if you guys could tell, but there's a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Susan Banks
Yes.
is like, like she has this energy about her. And Kristen as Susan kind of has it, but it's not as full out as Susan. Which I thought that was a big kudos to Stacey for doing that.
So
But
talented.
First of all, can everyone stop having these meetings that things are supposed to be kept quiet in the private area of the Hortons Town Square?
Oh, yeah.
Private meetings in the public park.
Number one. Number two, that meeting between the Susans.
Oh, my living
How
word.
in the world
That was
did-
friggin' hysterical.
How did she convince Susan, I'm your sister. I'm just not a nun anymore?
So
What was bugging before we get to that? The first thing that bugged me was that Will and Sunny. Will and Sunny, we're like, well, she was just here 20 minutes ago and she has a different outfit and she doesn't remember anything. And I'm like, you guys aren't suspicious that you guys aren't remembering that Kristen took Susan's place not even a year ago.
Because Susan remembers.
When
She's like, you're Kristen.
I don't remember if Sunny was at the wedding, but Will was at the wedding. Or maybe he was off getting his memories back when all that happened and he didn't see it. Maybe that's why nothing clicked in his brain, thinking oh, maybe one of these Susans is Kristen. And anytime they brought it up, the way they would have Susan answer the questions, I was like, all she has to do is be like, I wasn't here. But she was just like, y'all are delusional. And I was like, just say you weren't there. It was frustrating to me. But I know they had to, we can't get what we want. It's a soap opera. They have to continue the drama.
But I think it was an interesting way of how they kept bringing up stuff, and it was still as if she was there, and she was just forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, don't you have a new outfit? Oh, I just went and bought this. It's new.
And then when they said, do you have the permit for the gun? And she happened to have the permit for the gun in her purse. It's like, really? And then they give her the gun
back.
Yeah.
And she acted like, oh, that's the best gift ever.
I know. I was waiting for her to be like, that's not my gun. Or something.
Yeah, she took it as a gift.
Yeah. And I'm like, ugh.
And then with Eric too, she's just like, you're confused. You're confused. That should have been a light bulb right there. And he's just like, that whole. There's so many moments where she's lecturing him, saying, "Look, I'm not into you, Eric. I appreciate you're into me, but I'm not into you." And Eric's
Brady.
just like, "Oh God."
Yeah, we do the same thing.
We do it all the time.
thing.
All the time.
Do it all the time.
Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, I don't remember what Kristen said to make Susan believe that she was actually Sister Mary Myra. I think she just said it and Susan believed it.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
this is a real character?
Sister Mary Myra. Oh,
Sister
yeah.
Mary? Okay.
Oh, girl, you
I
yeah,
missed
okay,
that.
back in the day when it was
Yes.
Kristen and Susan,
Uh-huh.
they just Days of Our Lives decided to really push the envelope with this multiple character stuff. There was Susan, there was Sister Mary Myra, there was Thomas, Susan and Sister Mary's brother. Then there was Penelope,
Oh my
who
gosh.
was a long lost Banks sibling, but got her face fixed and looked exactly like Kristen. So that's the whole Banks family. Luckily,
okay.
this time around, they're not bringing them all back at once. There was one scene where it was Kristen, Susan, I feel like
It was all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, Eileen Davidson earned her money that day.
Yeah, she did.
And then some.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the history of the Banks siblings.
So why wouldn't you believe that was Sister Mary?
Well, that would be like Michael Maddox coming to me and saying, Tony, I'm your brother. I'm like, like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like you know your family.
Plus, Sister Mary Myra is supposed to be in a convent.
Yeah.
So why is she roaming around without her habit on?
Because she left the convent.
Right. So she basically, I think,
her new man.
I don't think it was anything particular that Kristen and Susan said to Susan to make her believe that she was Sister Mary. I think Susan just believed it.
Okay.
There's
and
one
that she met the other thing that Kristen.
Oh, you are exhausted just telling the story.
You know?
That she left the convent for a man.
Yes.
And so then,
She got caught up in
there's
the romance.
that.
If I was Susan, I would have said, that seems a little suspicious for me. And then I would have said, oh, I would have known that you were one of them vampires. I knew it was you, Kristen Mary. Which, side note, Stacy, last week after the show, of course, you know, we're talking about how I can be on the show. And she slipped into Susan Banks like that. And I was just like, this has made my entire day. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, can Terrence be friends with Susan Banks? Like, I would adore it. I would adore it.
Let's make it happen.
Yes. Okay, anyway, enough about Maxine's son. What? Oh, there's so many layers to this. Okay, so there's that, and then I felt really bad when Xander, when Maggie and Xander had that moment because the moment that they had before was so touching, and then now Maggie's just kind of like, I don't trust you.
Sarah did the
you
same
had
thing.
something to do with the kidnapping, but for it coming from Maggie, like. Life left Xander. Like his whole demeanor was just kind of like, not Maggie, and I'm thinking like, yeah, girl, Maggie.
Yeah.
It was that was a hard moment, but I'm also like, whew, she was about to hit the bottle again because she came in like, whew, I was tempted again, but it was something very small that like Victor did, and
Victor was complaining about
annoying.
Susan.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it was just a little much.
Yeah, and she was like, I gotta go and let's go to a meeting. There must be a lot of meetings in Salem.
The Salem
Can
Inn.
you blame him?
I don't know.
No, AA meetings.
Right.
They're all at the Salem Inn. Girl,
That has an entrance now. They can have events there.
Formerly known as the Yogurt Stop.
Yogurt Stop's in WeHo. I don't know what they called it on days.
That's
but,
right. Well, I called it Yogurt Stop in my head.
It's fine. Same diff. So
good.
Xander and Kristen had their showdown in the public park, and Xander wanted Kristen. Xander kind of got Kristen to beg, right?
When he did get that, wow, I couldn't believe the writing for that scene. When he said, get on your knees, and she said, I'm not going to service you.
I heard that, and I thought,
did I just hear that?
Yeah.
What?
And I was sitting there like, oh.
Wow. He's like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
He's like, get on your knees and beg. And then she's just like, slowly gets down. Please give me that mask.
Oh my gosh, what a moment.
So she got her mask back.
Finally.
And then she's Nicole again.
Yes.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. She can parade around as Nicole.
She was like,
Feels so good.
Looks great.
I stared at the mask for a long time while Xander was holding it, and I just kept thinking like,
yeah. Suspension of disbelief.
I know.
You got to.
The answer is no, but
fan with open arms.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how we are.
So then, as Nicole, she starts in on. She goes back to the DiMeras.
Right.
Getting in on DiMeras.
Right.
Yes.
And then that's when she started having this whole conversation of, well, there's other ways of becoming a DiMeras.
Mm-hmm.
Adoption, bah, ha, 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 ha. And that's when I started, when she brought up the marriage thing.
Yeah.
And Brady said, well, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Tony
or
and
married.
I'm
Otherwise,
like, that's when the little.
Not
that's,
dead.
yes.
So then that makes sense why she had went to Chicago.
In Chicago. Meanwhile, back at the farm.
That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. And then she's like, which fancy hotel,
right?
Yeah,
that,
of course.
That AD is just chilling in. But who else was kind of like, okay, so picture it, Friday, Days of Our Lives. Place, Chicago, Nicole goes into a hotel room and is presented with a back. And the camera pans around and comes up, and we see a DiMeras. We don't know if it's Andre. We don't know if it's Tony.
DiMeras, shut up.
In this moment, you're giving yourself so many props,
right?
Because you thought of it so quick. You're like, DiMeras, stop. That was good.
This is the Instagram.
But it was literally that, like, okay, finally a reveal of another initial that was on the laboratory. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Now, do we think this DiMeras, we'll find out more, knows that that's really Nicole, or thinks, oh, it's Kristen? Like, they know Kristen's alive.
Good question. I'm assuming Kristen and whoever this is in cahoots.
I don't know what's going on.
I
don't believe that anyone is who they say they are anymore.
I just kind of feel
just
like
wait for it to happen.
The only person who knows that Kristen is around is Xander, Ted, and Kate.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kristen is just now. Who knows? She can get in there, and then the mask comes off, and she's like, "Hey, DiMeras, you know." You know what I mean? So who knows?
I can't wait.
Who knows at this point? I don't think Ari Zucker knows if she's Nicole or Kristen.
Good point.
No one knows.
No.
I think Stacey Haiduk shows up and she's just like,
Who am I today?
Who am I? Am I Susan? Am I Kristen? Am I Nicole? Like, who am I? Brady? Who am I?
Am I Eric? Brady. Yeah.
This whole storyline with Stefan, I'm just kind of like, so muddled.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to get caught this week because Lonnie was finally doing her detective work and was kind of catching Kate and Ted slipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they were able to wiggle that out. But the person who's trying to marry a DiMeras and stepped up and said, let's do this, is Gabi.
And Stefan's reaction is like, what?
She just hits the Drake. There's so many Drake moments in this show. To like
the single malt.
Yeah.
The single malt. Oh my God. It happened so quickly, but I was...
He was like, okay, let me take a drink of this first. Let's answer this. But yeah, and that's Gabi's playing it smart, though, because she's like, that's how I'm going to get in. That's how I'm going to destroy him.
Yeah.
He needs me right now more than ever. So she's playing it really good.
I almost wondered if that was in the script because it was so fast when she said, "Is this single malt?" and he said, "Of course it is," and they just continued on with the
But
conversation.
did you see the way he looked at the glass and was like, "Did you just really?" Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
Haha moment.
Gabi is a boss. Like, the way that she was like, when Abe came in and she was like, okay, this is what we need to do. I was like,
okay.
Where does Gabi come from? Like, she is like on it. She is running
She's a natural.
Yeah.
For that role.
I like this little feisty Gabi. But she is all about like control and power, and that's why I feel like, and I've always kind of said this since she was in cahoots with Kate and Sammy back in the day with Nick Fallon, and now I think she's finally like come into her own.
Yeah.
Is she's like the next like Kate DiMeras in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it.
Me too.
The next generation, we're slowly.
The next
seeing it.
generation, Kate Roberts or DiMeras, Kate DiMeras, whatever her last name is now. So yeah, Stefan's still fired. I guess was he fired or was he? Because at first he was
on suspension. I think.
Yeah.
Not fully fired yet.
Not
but
fully fired.
Getting close. Poor Abe. Abe is just kind of.
Yeah, no, Abe's just in the middle of the mess, just like
I want to help, but fine, let's do it. What do you want me to say now? What do you want me to do now?
Well, that didn't work.
Anything else, boss?
Right. So yeah,
It's still kind of weird that he works at DiMeras. Is it not?
yeah.
Well, he said,
I'm it's not jiving with me.
I love him.
I love
In
Abe.
this
I
role.
like Abe,
I
but
like him in this storyline a
But
lot.
I don't know how I feel about the being over the communications of
Right.
DiMeras. You know
I
what
want
mean?
Abe to be at the police again. Like
too.
that, and
No.
maybe that's just me. You know, that's how I know. That's how I've known Abe ever since I started watching the show. He's like the go-to man at the Salem PD or commissioner, mayor, whatever. I want him in that kind of position again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem like it fits the character.
No, he said he only took the job in order to watch over Nicole. So when this all blows up and they realize it's not Nicole, I wonder if he'll stay. You know, I wonder how that'll change his role.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I think the police department's going to change a lot in the next couple of months.
yeah.
So we're going to see
That's
some
for sure.
changes.
It definitely needs to. All right, let's go on to our favorite triangle.
Is it?
Eric, Rex, Sara, Xander. Okay, I'm gonna let Tammy start off on this. 'Cause
Rex?
She went on
Oh, yeah.
such a tangent.
Oh my god! I was just texting. It was like, oh my gosh, just shut the front door. Just oh my god.
Oh my god! I thought you were about to say something
I
else.
know.
This is a first in history.
Oh, he's making me crazy.
I agree with you in that. I was like, Xander, get him. He's just bugging
Right?
me.
And
I
then
know,
Michael
I
said,
know,
really?
I
You
was-
think
I
you
was-
can take Xander?
I was like,
Yeah.
ha, yeah, nice try,
Yeah.
little boy. It was like a David and Goliath.
Yeah.
And then he
And
just.
Goliath would have wiped the floor with him. Xander doing those sit-ups. I was
The
like, why does he
crunchies.
have a shirt on?
Yeah.
Xander doing those sit-ups. I was like,
The music. Did you
lying.
remember the music that was playing?
Yeah.
Oh my, I was laughing out loud.
dum, dum, dum. You know, I love it. Well, you know, I feel like they should do like I don't know, we should have those sound effects. Those
Yeah,
sounds.
yeah.
The days of our lives, like, you know. Oh wait, what was the one I was doing last week? I've already forgot.
It was when Susan's around and it's like doop 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 ba, doop ding.
Oh,
It's not at all how it goes, but
it's something like that. I
Yeah.
have to remember it. Anyway, it's a great soundtrack. Okay, sorry, tangent.
So Sara and Rex are now moved into the Kyriakis mansion.
Which
I like
by
how
the
that
way,
happened. Go ahead, sorry.
okay.
I feel like you and I had the same reaction.
But it was kind of like, wait, why y'all been living with Eric this whole time? Like,
Yeah.
I get that y'all are doctors. Like,
And sharing a
not
bathroom.
like they don't have
all shared
money.
a bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of like y'all got money.
Yeah,
like,
it has been weird.
like, why don't you have your own?
I'm sure rent is affordable in Salem.
Yeah.
You think?
I would think. You would think.
It's a small town.
I mean,
Yeah.
if all these people got mansions and stuff, and you come from the Horton and Roberts, household, y'all got money.
Yeah.
And you shacking up with Eric. I'm like, and then when Rex was all like, "We'll still have you over for like movie night and dinner."
That's when
like-
I was like, oh my god.
Seriously.
If I was Eric, I'd be like,
No thanks.
"Oh,
And then keep the frame of us right here, too. We don't want to take it. Keep it to remind us in the living room. We'll just make a copy.
It was, yeah. And then Marlena and Roman showing concern for Eric,
Eric. That was
and the
cute.
living arrangements and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
I'm
It's
liking
just-
Xander and Sara.
We all like Xander.
You know, I gotta say.
Well, they're now living under the same household.
I know.
Because you don't.
Xander's excited.
Yeah. Did you see him running the door after those push sit-ups? He was like, "Oh, Sarah's here. Good news. Did you break up? Are you getting a divorce?" No. We're
She was
moving.
like, no.
He's like,
No, I'm moving here with my husband.
Exactly.
His face dropped again. I was like, poor Xander. He's
Fucking
having a
catch a break.
Yeah.
Can't catch a break at all. I don't know. I still feel like I would like the triangle better between Xander and Eric. I mean, it's the classic good guy, bad guy. And I don't know why Rex has this is no shade to Kyle Louder, but why the character of Rex has lasted this long, because if you think about it, with all the cheating that he's done, and the type of person Sara is, she would have looked at him and said, "Ew,
Exactly.
Yeah.
blah."
Yeah.
But she's like, "I'm gonna marry you because the guy I want isn't available."
It's like it was a forced triangle kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, like it I agree, it didn't really the decision to marry Rex was not really didn't fit the character.
I think, like you said about Hope, I think Sara just needed to be by herself. She didn't need to marry Rex.
Right.
And it was so sudden, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It just felt really rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that poor Eric had to marry them too. Just the whole
That was
thing
wrong.
kind of plays
That was
out.
wrong on so many levels.
Eric.
And I don't know, I do feel bad for Eric because Sarah always gets his hopes up too. Because every time he's like ready to move on, ready just to like get on with his life, she just keeps pulling him back in too. So
It's like a Jennifer. It just keeps pulling him in.
yes, bringing him in.
And he's just. I'm over it. Let him be happy. Give him something. Anyway.
Throw him a bone.
Throw him a bone.
Throw him a
Yeah,
bone.
exactly.
Well, speaking of bones, we are going to give you a little bit of news. We were done with that, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's all that happened, so.
All right, so as always, and each and every week, we want to thank you guys for making us the ESPN of TV talk. For us to continue to grow, we need your help. If you are listening to us on iTunes right now, please make sure you give us 5 stars and make a comment. If you are on YouTube watching us live, thank you so much. Give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. That way you will never miss out on when a new episode is up. Being a part of AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us. We definitely enjoy what we do here and giving you a full recap of Days of Our Lives. But that's not the only thing. There's so much more to AfterBuzz TV, and we want to make sure that you discover it. But we appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And don't forget to tell your friends, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your cousin,
Your
your
doggies.
distant cousin, your imposter, your twin, your fake mama, your play mama, all those people, and keep enjoying our shows. Thank you.
Thanks.
This kind announcement brought to you by the fine folks here at AfterBuzz TV. Alrighty, we're gonna get through our tidbits and then our segments because coming up we have soap legends.
Yes.
Mr. Thaao Penghlis and Leann Hunley is here in the building. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
So Tripp is now a drug dealer.
I see what you're saying.
That
Yeah.
was my thought. Like,
No,
really?
No.
And that's my fear. I'm afraid she's going to get addicted to whatever it is
Oh, the
she's taking.
sedatives he's giving?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I got it. Because remember when we were first introduced to Haley, which they never really explained why she felt suicide was the way out. Did they?
Well, she just felt so distraught.
Over what? Remember
Carrying
there
the
was
secret of being an illegal,
that.
Undocumented, yeah.
undocumented. Yeah.
Got it. I missed that. Sorry.
It was a little bit of an extreme route to take.
Yes.
I thought, but yeah, I remember that kind of being the
Especially when she
explanation.
went through all that she just went through. To like with the running away and the fake, anyway. But I get it. She doesn't want to put her life in jeopardy again, and especially in her job at the hospital. So, I mean, great for Tripp to go and talk to Kayla and say this is what's happening and blah, 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 and what should she need, and here's that. But scary as all get out that she's hallucinating about crazy Claire.
Love seeing Olivia Rose
Seeing
Keegan.
her again.
Which, shout out
Gone
to...
but not gone.
Shout out to Olivia because she looks good as the ghost of Claire. Like that little high pony with the little
And my favorite jacket. Yeah,
Yes,
I love
she
that.
is like aha, that little.
Yeah.
She's a stylish ghost.
Yes, she is, and I love that she's. There was this one look where I think Haley maybe tried to look away, but she kind of looked back like, "Still here, bitch." Like, what are you gonna do? So this is now an interesting turn of events. But again, it makes sense because you wouldn't just quickly recover from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just feel really bad. She needs to go see Marlena. I think Tripp maybe should have gone to Marlena first before trying to get her prescription drugs.
She should have went to Dr. Shaw. That way we could have kept Dr. Shaw around. Marlena's too busy with everything. Dr. Shaw, can we help?
She needs to talk
Can you
to
help?
somebody.
Yeah. So there was that. Oh wait. This is another tricky one because we're seeing a lot of Haley and Tripp. And Haley and JJ, and it's starting to confuse me again as to who I prefer Haley to be with.
Oh, I don't know. JJ for sure. In my brain.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't see any chemistry. I mean, I do see chemistry, but I don't see it happening.
I don't know.
I could see a triangle because I called it way back saying I could kind of see a triangle a little bit between them two, but still JJ and Haley. But Tripp, no. he just wants to be that good guy, that concerning guy. In a way, he kind of feels responsible for what she's going through, too. So I think, that's definitely why he's stepping up. I can see a triangle for sure, but I'm so leaning towards JJ and Haley. Yeah. And JJ is getting confused, too, a little suspicious, because when he walked in from his shift and he see Haley and Tripp about to go upstairs, he's like, what's going on here?
What's happening?
Yeah.
And my other thought was, when he walked in, why are y'all still, that's when you just, hey, JJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look suspicious, but when you're just still like...
Well, she was a little loopy. And, she had troubles getting off of the couch, and so that's why he had his arm around her, but...
Still, don't look guilty.
You got that down.
Shade. All right. And now, is that it? That's it on that one, right?
With that,
Kate, Ted, Stefan, and Lonnie. We kind of touched it.
Yeah, but it was hysterical. Ted fumbling with Lonnie, because he has no idea that Kate has his... Oh, my God, that was so funny.
He was nervous.
Yes. He's like, no, I told you everything. What do you want me to say?
This whole thing with Kate being scared of Kristen, it
bugs, right?
Yeah. I'm like, Kate might be a twitch bothered, but Kate's not the kind to just hunker down in her hotel room because she's threatened by somebody.
It's her kids.
I get
and that's
it,
the only thing that I can ration.
I understand that, but even so, she wouldn't stand for that. She would go figure out a way to get rid of Kristen.
But she is. That's why her and Ted are kind of going along with the plan, but they also kind of devise their own plan. Because she's like, listen, I'm going to go through it to save not only our lives, but and the kids' life.
Right.
But, I'm on to you, Kristen, and I'm going to get you.
Yeah, they're going to go against her. They're going to use her to get what they need, and then after that, they're going to go the opposite way. So it's Kate. She never gets out of character. She'll do what's best for her. She might play along for a little bit, but then at the right moment, she's going to get what she wants.
It's just been such a long time since we've seen Kate just in full Kate glory.
I know.
It's been so long.
Yeah. I miss that.
Yeah.
It's coming.
I hope so.
It's a brewing. All right. Well, that was your week of days, and now it's time for our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. And we'll start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Now, listen. Y'all know I am the one who consistently listens out for the tea, likes to spill the tea, likes to drink the tea, and everything like that. But now I have a twin on Days of Our Lives that likes to do it too.
Oh my gosh.
When Susan was spilling all the beans to Brady about, listen, I know that you might be into all of this, however you will find somebody, and and Maggie is just sitting there and drinking the tea and doing all. I was like, yes, Maggie, you better stand over there and collect all the tea and be real quiet and just let Susan talk. So, for getting all the tea and sipping the tea, Suzanne Rogers, Maggie Kyriakis gets Tony's official 3 Snaps Awards. You better sip that tea because the tea is always good, Maggie. All right, and now it's time for... Fashion. Arrogance. Designer days.
So it was tough. I almost gave it to Nicole because she had that gorgeous dress on. But, I'm going to give it to Camilla Banus this week, Miss Gabi. She's wearing this floral print bow front wide leg jumpsuit by Chelsea 28. Love this thing. Now, the issue with days filming so far in advance is 9 times out of 10 these outfits are sold out. Okay, however, you can still find this on Nordstrom.com in an extra small. Sorry, ladies. But, Chelsea 28, that line in and of itself, really reasonable prices, super cute jumpsuits and dresses. So check them out, Nordstrom.com.
I can see you in this.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
so cute, right?
Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah.
So thank you, Camilla Banus, Miss Gabi, for getting Designer Days.
Designer Days. And now it's time for... Caption That.
All right, this week's caption photo comes courtesy of Eve and Jack. With Eve looking like the cat that got the canary. Is that right? Cat that got the canary?
Something like that.
Little did we know that wasn't the actual serum. Anyway, this week's caption comes from Panamac on Twitter. PANNMCADOO on Twitter, saying, "I know what I'm doing, Jack. I've seen several episodes of General Hospital."
And
LOL.
And that has been Caption That. And now it's time for the moment of the week.
All right, our awe moment of the week goes to Jack and JJ. When Jack shows up at the loft and confronts JJ that he took the serum and wants to get his memory back for him and Abigail, JJ starts to tear up. The interaction between them is sweet, giving us hope they will eventually have a good father and son relationship. And my favorite quote was, JJ says, "You know what happened to Will? It's risky to take that stuff." Jack comes back and says he made the antidote and is ready for the first sign of trouble. And then right before Jack leaves, he's like, "Hey, good luck, Dad." Very good moment.
That was
a good moment.
That was the key thing, was when he called him Dad. I was like,
Yes.
oh,
There you
okay,
go.
I hear it. And that was your
Those two, Matt Ashford and Casey, just have that
Such good
chemistry.
chemistry.
Like,
Yeah.
their scenes just always get to you.
Yeah. And now it's time for news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, we want to start off by sending out some birthdays. There were
So many.
Oh, there were a
freaking
lot.
ton of birthdays.
Yeah.
Every day I was like, oh, it's her birthday. It's his birthday. So happy birthday to Martha Madison, Eric Martzoff, Lindsay Godfrey, Lucas Adams, John Aniston, and Camila Banus. They all celebrated birthdays this week. We hope they all had a fabulous day, and here's to another year.
Well, if you follow Camila on social
She had a
media,
blowout.
love.
listen, she went all out for her birthday. I
There was a
like,
bird, and
she was living her best life.
yeah,
Go, girl.
She was.
yes.
All right.
And then one of our faves, Robert Scott Wilson, has a new film being released on DVD in October. The horror film called Devil's Revenge was written and produced by Willem Shartner and follows a family looking for an ancient artifact and discover a world of evil. You can pre-order the DVD on Amazon and any other online realtors.
So when I saw this, do you guys remember when William Shatner was like watching Days of Our Lives?
Yeah, and tweeting Billy Flynn.
and was tweeting about it.
Yes.
And he was like, well, who's this woman and why is she doing that? Like it was the funniest thing, and that was back then. I was like, oh my god, if we could get William Shatner
Oh my God,
in here
that would be
to
everything.
talk about it,
Yeah.
That
it
would be everything.
So good.
amazing.
Yeah.
I was totally down to do that, but his tweets were
So funny.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun moment. I wonder if he still watches.
I don't know. I feel like I saw him and Billy going back and forth
recently
on Twitter.
Okay.
Or maybe I don't know if those were old tweets that just got bumped up or if they were recent. But, okay, moving on. Days of Our Lives is coming to Houston on Saturday, August 10th. You can join cast members Lauren Koslow, Paul Telfer, Melissa Reeves. Did I pronounce his name right?
did,
Telfer. Okay.
yes,
yes.
Paul Telfer, Melissa Reeves, Matt Ashford, Lamone Archie, Sal Stowers, Lindsay Godfrey, Camila Banus, Deidre Hall, and Drake Hogiston at the Memorial City Mall from 12 to 4 p.m. There will be a meet and greet with the stars and a trivia challenge. This event is completely free, and early arrival is suggested.
That's so great.
That's a good group.
That's a good lineup.
That's an
I know. I was
amazing
like,
lineup.
oh.
Let's
yeah.
go to Houston.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, who do I know that can give me a buddy
Yeah.
pass to Houston?
Houston.
You know that's the only way I travel.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't buy flights.
That should be a cheap flight from here to Houston.
What
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, especially if it's on a buddy pass.
We could do a
Right.
road trip.
No.
That's too much.
I kind of think
Okay,
that's
road trip to Ontario is one thing. Road trip to Texas is a
It's a
whole
whole another thing.
That involves like a stop and a hotel.
Yeah.
and-
And
We
yeah.
can get those trailers, like the long trailer.
You gonna drive it?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay, on to our next topic. And in addition to their events in New York, Myrtle Beach, and here in LA, our friends Paul and Keith have yet another weekend of fun planned, January 25th through the 26th in Jekyll Island, Georgia. Joining this weekend will be Matt Ashford, Melissa Reeves, Stacey Haw-Duke, and Paul Tefler. More information is to be announced. Info on all of the Starstruck events, including ticket options and hotel information, can be found at starstruckfanevents.com or on Twitter at StarstrucksFan2.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And they just added to their yesterday's event that's going to happen here before Day of Days. They have now 13 cast members.
Baker's dozen. Yeah, that's what they called it.
They were who?
They called it Baker's dozen.
Yes. Well, now it's 13. And it's Kyle Louder who's being added. Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
That's going to be good. Well, now that we're done with news and gossip, we can introduce our wonderful guests who are here in the building. We have Miss Leann Hunley and Thaao Penghlis. How are you? It's always a little weird because like we're on live and we're doing the show and they like bring them in, and so it's almost like we're like ignoring them.
I want to squeal or do something.
Yeah. So you've changed the format. We used to sit up there as important as you are.
But you're still just as important.
I feel like we're the guests you say goodbye to.
like in a minute we're gonna go, okay, bye, thank you.
Yeah, easy for you.
It's almost like the nightly news. Thank you, y'all. And now in more news. Well, thank you guys for joining us as always.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, Thaao.
Oh, Tony, I'm not happy with you.
Already? What did I do?
I don't know. I was used to being up there so I could, now I feel like, I'm in the parking lot waiting for the car to come up.
I can never do anything right. I came with questions this time.
Oh, good.
Because the last time he got me, he was like, "Is there a question in there somewhere?" And I was like, "Eventually, I'll get to a question." But thank you guys for coming.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
It's nice to see you, though.
It's always great to see you. It's always great to see you. So this week, the last 10 seconds of Friday, we finally saw a mysterious guest in Chicago.
Yeah,
that
was it Chicago?
It was Chicago.
Chicago.
Well, it was so long ago.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I know, because you guys film so far in advance.
Was it 2 years in advance now?
Almost.
Right, that's what it feels like. Well, welcome back to the show. How does it feel to, be back and be able to reprise your roles again?
Well, from my perspective, it's wonderful. I love coming back every once in a while, just popping in and stirring up a little bit of trouble and finding out who he's going to be.
Yes.
That's always the question.
That's all, yes.
Whether or not I have to divine that secret and kiss him or something. Well, that's a past storyline. But for me, it's a lot of fun just to come home. So to speak.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, I definitely enjoyed Anna during Prague when she was just running around, gun happy with the urn, and every time she thought she saw Stefano, she was like, trigger happy, just ready. I thought that was like the best. That was so much fun.
A lot of fun to play, as a matter of fact. The one thing about being an actor is that you get to do things you would never consider. And so from my perspective with Anna, she used to be a little more sane. I think she's more sane this time back. You'll find out soon enough. But it's fun for her to be a little off the rails and a little bit crazy because that's what's fun to play.
But I think an urn as an accessory, I think a trend has started there.
It's a martini shaker. It does look like I'm ready to
I was going to say, in your real life, you would not carry around a martini shaker with someone's ashes in it.
I'm very sensitive about that.
Yeah.
Andre was killed by that.
This is true.
You remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
It wasn't a pepper shaker.
No.
But I was going to bring up the thing, who is in there? Because that's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. That's what she wanted. Yeah. Whose ashes were they?
In Salem, you never know. It could just be sand for all anyone knows. I mean,
from the hourglass.
Yeah.
Makeup powder.
Could be someone's favorite cat. I don't know. Who's in there? It just leaves it up to her, and she comes in and she says, "Well, who was in here?" I didn't have the answer because nobody gave us an answer. So it was easier just to fluff over it.
Well, and the last time we saw you on the show, Thaao, was this dream sequence.
With Marlena.
With Marlena.
Heaven, yes.
Yeah.
Or the in-between stage.
60 pages of dialogue.
Yes, that was a lot to have. And you were playing Andre and Tony.
Yeah.
There was one scene there was 9 pages.
Oh my gosh.
In one take.
Nice.
So much so the crew went into shock.
Well, I mean, you all are super professionals and know what you're doing. I mean,
most of us.
Now.
What did I say? I mean, there's no perfection in life, you know.
Right. Well, you're close to it.
Where?
In my eyes,
Yes.
you are.
Well, you get the result.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I know it takes a lot of work to get there. But I thought those scenes were fun, and especially because we had that moment of they're really not going to kill Marlena, are they? Like, I mean, I got worried for a second, and then that whole episode happened, and I was like, well, this is fun. It's always great to see you back, and it's great to see.
Well,
you
that dream
reprise those two
sequence
roles.
was a very difficult sequence.
Yeah.
It was to try to play those two characters for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate? You know, it's like when I was fencing myself, you know, Tony and Andre. But it was, I love working with Deidre.
Yeah.
You know, she has, for me, she's one of those actresses that I think you just enjoy being with. I mean, she enjoys being with you. She shows that. If she doesn't like you, then maybe it's another situation.
But she's really open, and when you talk with her and look her in the eye, you think Dr. Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fun.
She's really.
She's fun because I remember one time I was doing a scene with her, and I came really so close to her face, and she said, "Oh, what were you thinking in that scene?" And I said, "Well, I was." I can't even say it on here. I just realized I've got to behave.
Oh, that's a shame.
Basically, that, you know, I was being intimate.
Yes.
And she just looked at me like, that was what it was. Because I was right in her face. And that made it, to me, for Andre, it made it a very sensual experience, you know, because he's a provocateur.
Yes.
Whereas Tony is much more of a gentleman and a little more sophisticated, but Andre is the kind of guy who comes in with a tuxedo and trips.
Yeah. You mentioned it was difficult to play the two characters, and especially not having played ones for like 10 years. What do you do as an actor when you realize, okay, I have to reprise this role that I haven't done in so long? What do you do to prepare yourself and get back into that character and kind of put yourself, okay, now this character is being brought back 10 years later and where he is and all that? Like, how do you filter through?
I put my hand through my hair.
Shake it off.
Here I am. Whatever happened.
Excuse me, I'm knocking the furniture. You know, it's a matter of attitude.
Yeah.
You learn as you get older what the tricks of the trade are.
Yeah.
And because we go so fast, we don't have the time to really get in depth. You better be prepared.
Yeah.
So, you know, we like to go on set before they call us, because that way you adjust the atmosphere, you adjust to people's moods. And so you go and sit on the set so that when they come in and the cameras are ready, you're prepared as well.
Right.
But for that, because it was a set that was all white, basically,
Yeah.
and the idea that, you know, Andre was going to hell, which, you know, I felt sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him. I think he gets the hard knocks, you know.
Yeah.
He's trying to reform.
I've heard this so many times.
We do. We try to do. But no, I remember Andre's tone was harder than Tony's. I look at that for sound. I look at the type of dress. If you notice, I put Tony in a suit. I put Andre in a tiger shirt. So that gave a contrast. And also people would identify with Andre because I made a particular shirt that had a tiger on it, you know, fashionable.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, well, I'll remind them that this is Andre. And they bought it. So it was good. It was also having to deal with the arc of the story. Sometimes because it goes so quickly, someone doesn't stop to say, hey, wait a minute, this is the end of the show. You don't make the adjustment, or you don't come to that conclusion that quickly. You have to get up slowly with a realization of what just took place. Whereas sometimes the actor will quickly get up and then, I'm leaving, like Deidre did, and so we had to talk about that. So we made that moment. So we're still looking for things we are discovering, because there's nothing worse than looking at yourself and knowing it happened 8 months ago, and you can't change it. So you go along and make sure the mistakes don't take place if you have control over that.
And then either on the show, either you're going to come back as Tony or Andre. If you had to choose for yourself, which character would you want to come back as?
To be honest with you, when they asked me that Andre was coming back earlier on, and I thought, oh well, maybe I'll make him likable this time. So I will bring in a bit of Tony and a bit of Andre and make that, because I don't think they're going to bring back Tony. Little did I know. So I found who would be the person who I can show my affection to, and that was Abigail.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I did that, little did I know that 6 months, a year down the road, the head writer was going to see that relationship, and that's how they killed me, because I would affect her more. It would affect her more. It was her story. So that's how they killed me. So what I went to do to improve on the relationship is the thing that ended up killing him. So, but to your question, I know it's been long, to your question to that, I like them both. It depends on who I'm working opposite. If Leann wasn't there, be a different situation with Andre, because she doesn't like Andre. Because I think also I seduced you one time long down the road.
I think you married me as Andre at one point too.
Yes. So I like them both. It's hard to say. I like being mischievous.
Yes.
As you know.
Yes.
I like to stir the party, if you know what I mean. I don't like when people get too comfortable. I'm thinking, oh, this is boring. So I will do something. Like Trump does. When he wants to change the subject, he'll go on to cause something else. So he'll distract us. The same way with Andre.
Yes.
But Tony, I like, because, as you will see between this lady and myself, the meeting for the first time after all those years. So I'll give it to her. What was it that suddenly, after all those years, he's alive and she's holding it in her hand? And that was a great piece of drama. I thought that really made it interesting, and just the way she played it, and I was so overjoyed, because part of the thing that happens along before she comes on, she comes a week later. Is that how do I get to that moment? So that's what will be interesting for the audience. So there are new things. Sometimes we get routine, but there are new things in the relationship. There are new things in relationship with others as well.
You speak about meeting for the first time after all these years, but I'd like to go back for meeting literally for the first time working together.
Oh yeah.
Oh, where's my tie?
Do tell.
Oh, I just remember, because when I came on the show, I was like a little lamb, a naive little lamb, and I was playing a little naive lamb that actually turned once the audience saw Stefano. I was under Stefano's employ, and he was a very suave and debonair character over there that I didn't work with. And my character, I wore little cap sleeves, and I was just a little sweet little thing. And for me I remember the producer taking me aside and saying, Leann, you're going to be working with Thaao. And I said, but why? Why? He was also, he stirs it up, and I was a lamb, remember?
Right.
So I'm used to being in a calmer environment. And I remember saying, can I work with John? I mean, somebody,
They did. They put her with John. It didn't work.
Well, they tried.
But it worked.
But this worked.
But tell them why it worked.
The Lamb and the Wolf? What?
Well, I wasn't such a bad person.
Oh, well, that's true, because I did calm him down a bit.
She did. She said, it's okay, darling.
Stand behind him and, scratch his back and say, calm
like a nurse, take care of the patient.
Yes.
That's how she was with me. And I went, who is this person? It's like, everything's fine, because I was playing two characters, and I have to tell you, be at studio 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that after 6 months, you are not well. I mean, after a while, the pressure was on.
Mm-hmm.
Thought the pressure was on then, you should see now. But suddenly I saw someone who had this wonderful nature about her.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Susan Hayes, and she knows because we've talked about it, whereas Susan Hayes was, one of those who tested to see if you had any balls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you arrived on the set. That's how.
She's great fun.
Yeah, she was great. She is great fun. I adore her, and I'm glad she kind of went that direction, because it made us stronger as we got to know each other. But there was something about the way we came together.
Mm-hmm.
It showed in the dance.
Mm-hmm.
It showed the way we dressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's always important. Because let's face it, these guys who just wear T-shirts, that's not what we want to see unless you've got great muscles or something. You're being Brando.
Yeah.
But one of the things they used to watch about the daytime is they loved the love in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
They loved to see the way people are dressed, that we had more so they could look up to the possibilities for their lives.
Yeah.
And so, we brought that. We
The
brought the
romance.
romance.
We've got
Exactly.
romance.
Yeah.
We brought the romance.
And some of that is back, which is really
Yes.
quite
Yeah.
sweet, I must say.
Yes, those lips. I kissed those lips again after. And it was kind of, because I remember one time I looked at her, I was about to kiss her, and I said, "My, look at that mouth." I remember saying that.
Yeah.
And then I kissed her. And she was, she was very, and I can't say all actresses are, but she was very available in the nicest way.
Yeah.
It just was like,
Yeah.
it was an intimate moment. She allowed herself to be open, and I wanted to see how far I could go.
Yeah.
And then we did the first shower scene, and then the first bathtub scene, and she slapped me in that one because I unzipped her down too far in the shower.
Uh-oh.
She even asked me, "Don't you do that?"
Yeah.
My mother's watching. I said,
That's
"Oh, okay."
my mommy.
I love it.
What
It's a
are
bareback kind of.
What are some of the best memories you two have working together and storylines that you guys were like, these moments were great and they're like solid and golden for both of us?
Well, Calliope and Eugene,
That was going to
those
say the
four.
same thing. Those four when we had
That was
the
a
four
great
together.
group. We've never had that again.
Yeah.
It
We
was
haven't
such
had that
fun.
kind of humor.
Arlene
they-
Sorkin and John Delancey.
They were
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Wonderful.
We would get in the morning, we'd run for a dressing room, and we'd all sit around and chatter and work our lines and try to make them, with a little kick in them and maybe change.
John would always
make
remind me
something
that I owed
funny.
him $4. Don't forget the $4. You owe me $4. That was John. But she and Calliope, Arlene
Yeah.
were wonderful together. And then the men came in, and I think one of the sequences where they got caught and sold to slavery.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Crazy
That was
storyline.
the harem,
What
where they
is
got into
harem?
that harem. I mean, those things. I mean, we're doing things that are beyond the norm these days, but in those days, it was very playful. And,
It was playful, yes.
Yeah.
And now it's all supernatural or something, but
Yeah.
at the time it was a lot of playful situations that were not realistic
Yeah.
by any standard.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think the audience bought it, and we sure did because we loved playing it. We
Yeah.
just really
Yeah,
loved
Tell them about the time of the fashion.
the
When
fashion.
we did that show about fashion, long before Bold and the Beautiful.
Well, Anna DiMeras Designs.
Yes, right.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
the whole thing, but of course I was taking credit for all of it.
It was great. Just things like that. We
Yeah.
had some great times, and then we opened a new office. And then I remember when she came and she was confronting me about something because I always like to tease her. And then I said to her, "Oh, come on, admit that you really want me." And she said, "Oh, excuse me." So she goes and gets a painting, and while I'm looking at her file, she hits me over the head with it and cuts me right through. So
Those were fun too.
it was good.
Yes. The banter and the fun and the playfulness of it. That is what I kind of miss at this point.
Do you think there was
Just
more
got the
room?
romance back.
Do you think there's more room for improvisation back then than there is now, or do you think there's still room for
Well,
that?
there was more. We had more time in the day. We started early. There were all these rehearsals all the way, and you could really find it by the end of the day. Now you better come in and
Yeah.
and
And
be
do it and
grateful.
know
What's on the page, and you make it work.
Yeah.
What year is this, Walter? You went through great expense, I see. And where are the hors d'oeuvres? You used to serve hors d'oeuvres once.
The pizza rolls.
Oh, Thaao, we've missed you.
I swear, I sweat bullets for a week before Thaao comes in, and I feel like I'll never get it right. I'll never.
Well, how could you get it right when everything's missing?
Well, last week we had brownies here.
So what happened today?
There was no food this week.
Yeah, she had no food.
Last week?
That was
last week.
Well, we were gonna bring those in, and then we realized they were last week.
Tell me next time, I'll help you. I'll bring some Greek hors d'oeuvres.
Well, we know that
He's a professional.
Your dinners. Of course, I follow you on Instagram, but like your dinners always look amazing.
They are.
Yeah.
Where's our invitation to that?
I know.
To the dinners.
Oh, maybe I'll invite you.
Okay.
He follows through, by the way.
Oh.
When he throws things out like that, he does follow.
Yes, I don't. I don't. You know what it is? Coming from Australia, I think we walk our talk.
Yeah.
I think it's a little shocking sometimes in this world of today that you tell somebody exactly what you think.
Yeah.
They kind of go into shock, like you're rude.
Oh.
And you're thinking, are you missing something? Because then you tell the truth once.
Mm-hmm.
When you lie, you have to keep
lying.
So much more effort.
You know, and so I said, let's get it over and done with. You look good today.
Yeah.
That's being truthful.
Thank you.
Right. So do you. I don't know you two. Anyway.
But this is what we
Last
like.
time he was on, it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was.
And we were sitting over there. We had more impact.
Still wants your chair.
I know, right?
Yeah. Now I feel like
They're
I'm
in
waiting.
the chat room. They're like, Michael, move over.
Yeah, it's like we're sitting in the aisle waiting to come on.
It's like, and now presenting. Do you all feel the difference between soaps then and now, and what do you feel that difference
Budget.
is? Budget?
Huge.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's not talking out of school. Let's face it, there's 4 soaps left.
Yeah.
Which is sad in many ways because, it still has an audience. But the trouble is, we don't always listen to the fans, I think.
Well, it's hard to, because especially when you're so far ahead. Yeah. Sometimes, and we've had many of the cast come in and talk about this. It's almost like you're in your bubble.
Yes.
And then you come out and go, oh, you guys like this? Oh, you didn't like that? But then there's not time to kind of go, you guys like that, and
go
to keep
in
that
and
going.
fix it and rewrite it and change the path of where it's going and what's feeding it, so to speak. Yes.
The lighting.
Some of us.
I always say to myself, could I have some lighting before I die? And you're going, and as one lighting director said, but I want to put a shadow on your face on that side, and I want to make you look. I said, you don't make me look anything. That's my job as an actor. Just make me look well.
I want them to make me look gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's my choice.
Give me that Vaseline lighting.
I'll take some
soft.
cheesecake in front of it. Or cheesecloth.
You always look great on camera. Whenever you're on, I think you look amazing and beautiful.
Well, I think I love you.
And I'm being truthful.
You're going to say something nice to me, were you?
No, I'm coming over to you now. I thought you looked very handsome in your 10-second take on Friday.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really quick, but you know what? It calls for a moment, and it was and you always have this way of it's the subtle things that you do that make such an impact. Like you didn't have to say anything.
There's a duality.
Yeah. And it's just like, ooh, like I can't, like I wanted the show to go longer, and so that I can know what you're thinking in that moment while you're sitting in that chair. Yeah.
Well, the fans, as you said, 10 seconds, but the fans really grabbed onto it. Because, for our head writer, he was, he knew to put that at the end because it was enough. Someone said, what is he thinking? Well, when you've come back from the dead, don't laugh, because those things are possible today. All the things we used to scoff at and all that, the soaps did it first. So I don't look at that and think, someone else is coming back from the dead. I think we have the tools that we'll eventually be able to use to bring people back. But at that moment, I prayed and I heard the voice came to me. So that moment, it was interesting because when I watched it, it was a long time ago, but I remember. So what do you do after a person died? You know, because that head writer put a stake through me, and it didn't dawn on me at the time. But I thought, what am I, a vampire? The way he killed me, and I went, that's a little personal. You know, can I go up the stairs like Julian going up the stairs and disappears for a while? Instead of the stake. So that really said something to me, and it's like you're dead. You know, until somebody gets to like you and you write or something. But I remember that moment. What do you think? You have had that. Is there any pain there? What happened to you in that accident? So how do you deal with that? How's the voice? How's the condition of the body having come out? Because I don't care who you are, when our doctor who brings us back, everybody's different, but I wanted to feel at that moment when he awakens out of this 10-year, where's the pain and how does he feel, and is it depressing? So that's why my face was so serious, because of what I had to come through. It wasn't easy, so I decided to give it all in one look. Put that in so that it continues. So there's no in the writing, the dialogue, oh, Tony's not feeling well, or Tony's got pain. It's just they said, give me a cane. So I get the cane, they put that in. And then the next thing is, how do you breathe? Because it's right here. It's also where your heart lies. So all those things you bring into that moment of a look. So then you've got to repeat it for Monday. And then it goes into what happens. And I think her story with Tony, I think, is really wonderful. And I think the story with Stacey is really is really very interesting, because people think, because stories are getting out already, and I'm thinking, who gets all these leaks? Where are they coming from?
Well, I assure you, they're not coming from this show.
No, they're not
coming from this one. Because I started watching Days in the 90s, and the one thing that I always liked was the cliffhangers. I loved that gasp moment, and I loved when there was no internet. Like, the internet was just kind of becoming a thing when I was watching Days, and so you couldn't go online and find out what was happening. And I didn't subscribe to Soap Opera Digest. Sorry, but I wanted to watch and find out what happened, because the show left me hanging in that way. So we try not to deal with like spoilers and stuff. We want the story to be told to us when it's supposed to be told to us.
Element of surprise.
Leann, I had a question for you. With everyone playing dual characters and multiple characters, have you ever wanted Anna to come back as like another character or persona?
I've always thought that it would be kind of fun for her to. I don't know. I think it would be fun for her to be really smart. Honestly, I've never played a doctor or even a nurse. I mean, nobody hires me for those jobs. I always say I always play sluts. But I just think it would be really nice to be an attorney or the head of a company. That I just think it would be kind of a different take for her. Yeah,
because Carrie came back and she has this wonderful
I got a smart daughter.
Belle came back. She's a lawyer over in Hong Kong. Like, all these people grow up and they have these like great things, and then poor Anna's running around Prague shooting up people with a martini shaker.
My martini shaker, ready to roll.
Oh my God!
I don't think I want to be smart forever, because I do kind of like the joy of having that shaker in my hand. It's kind of my.
What did they do with the shaker? Did you give it away, or did they keep it?
I didn't keep it. I didn't get to keep it, as a matter of fact. I don't know it.
You should have kept it.
I should have, because I think it.
But your question was about the difference now from the previous time. There was some. The trouble is, in hindsight, when you look back at things, you realize what was great. we don't always see it when we're in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we need people who we trust to tell us the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so are we over? Did you?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I don't want to hold up the show.
No, never,
Okay.
never. We will go over for you, sir. Yeah, but only by a
I'm still
minute.
riding the wheel.
Well, I was looking up because we're going to take phone calls from you all, so that way you have a chance to call in and ask your questions or give comments. So make sure you give us a call. The number is 424-354-8302. That's 424-354-8302. Call in now. Ask a question. Give a comment. Be polite as always, because if not, I have Thaao here, and he will be very
Yeah.
He will call
He will tell
with
you the truth. Yes.
very truthful with you.
And I'll be scratching his back.
It's like calm down. What I've noticed is that especially cast members who work together often, there's like a yin and yang. There's one that calms the other. Like when we had Billy and Marcy in. It's kind of like that same calming of each other, you know.
It's like a marriage. You
Yeah.
know, really,
Yeah.
when you work with somebody, I always felt like he was my other husband.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
I love this.
Sweetheart.
Oh, we have a caller. Let's take that caller. Hello, welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin Days. You're on live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Sabina.
Oh,
I'm calling
hey.
from Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, yes, you are. Hey, Sabina. I'm so glad you got through. Sabina, I've known for years, and she actually messaged me and said, how can I get in? I have to talk to Thaao. And look at that, you're the first caller. So there you are. What's your question or comment?
Oh, awesome.
Hello, Sabina.
Hi, Thaao.
Hi, love.
It
You're
is
gonna be
so lovely to
provocative?
speak with you, as always.
Yeah.
And Leann, it's so wonderful to say hi to you.
Well, thank you. Lovely to meet you from a distance.
Yeah. Well, I started meeting some of my favorites from Blog Talk radio shows before getting to see you guys in person at events like Thaao. I've gotten to hang out with, and Tony. That's how I met him, is at some of these Days fan events. So it's wonderful getting to meet everybody and hang out, and it's just a joy to me. So
Well,
hopefully you get to come to one day.
Oh, who?
Me?
Leann?
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah.
I have before, years ago, but
Yeah.
not this time around. I haven't done it, but maybe someday. You never know.
Well, now that you put that out there, somebody's gonna come call it.
Yes.
They're gonna say, "Are you available for
I
this
like
day?"
to travel.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, we have some people to put you in touch with in case you wanna make that happen.
Okay.
Any other question or comment, Sabina?
I just wanted to say, of course, I have not exactly gotten to see this Friday show. My boyfriend had to leave out of town for a funeral, so we weren't able to watch yet, Thaao. So I can't wait to see this.
Well,
I have to wait until we're watching together, because we don't watch separately.
Sweet.
Well, you
Talk about romance.
Yeah.
No, Monday show will show that ending. It begins with that.
Okay. Okay.
So that, that's what we do. So if you look at Monday's show, now that Friday's gone, you'll catch what happened.
But you still want
a little more ominous at the end.
you still want to tune in Friday, because those last 10 seconds were brilliant. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah. No, we'll catch up when he gets back. He comes home tomorrow, and we'll catch up on Tuesday on our day off.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, message me and let me know what you thought of Friday and Monday's episode.
I sure will.
All right.
And again, it was so nice chatting with you, and Thaao as always, and Leann, hope to see you one day.
Thank you.
Meet you.
Thank you, Sabina.
Thanks, Sabina.
Thanks, Sabina.
Enjoy your trip to Australia.
Oh, she's going to Australia?
Yes.
Oh, you have to tell her where to go.
No, I did. she wrote to me and asked me. Yeah.
We'll go ahead and take this caller. Hello, caller. We have a caller?
No, they hung up.
Oh. There they are. They'll call back. They always do. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin Days. You're on live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Dwight Slemons from Lubbock, Kentucky again.
Well, hello, Dwight. How are you?
I'm fine. Hello.
Hello.
Thaao and
Hi.
Hey,
Hello.
Hey, Leann.
It sounds like the phone was slipping.
Yeah.
He was trying to catch it and all that. What's your question or comment for Leann and Thaao, Dwight?
First question is for Leann. I remember you from Designing Woman. You played Gabi Langford.
Oh my goodness, what a very good memory. It was like a century ago.
You said something about Big Beautiful Buck.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorite episodes.
It was, I think I was talking about Meshach Taylor, and I was looking him up and down. I said, where on earth did you find this big, black, beautiful buck?
That made me blush a little. I wonder how he felt. He probably blushed too.
He did kind of.
That's fabulous.
I love this.
And for Thaao.
Yes, love.
And for Thaao, I remember the Andre and Tony memories and Eugene and Calliope.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they were good times, as we spoke
The original
earlier.
Designer Days.
Yes.
Yeah, it's long before other TV shows copied them. I mean, that was one thing about Days. I thought they had some really wonderful stories, and also the love stories were great. Always unrequited. You know, the Bowen Hopes, the Tony Arnas. We had some very good actors. And the Eugene Calliope, who I miss terribly.
Yes.
Because, you know, people who are funny naturally that way bring the best out in you.
Yeah.
You know, so Eugene and I, when we were going after they were taken to the harem, you know, I mean, I just had to look at John and I couldn't stop laughing. You know, there were times, and then he would do things, you know, behind the camera, try to make me laugh. So we used to have all that fun, but now it's not. It's 5, 4, 3, 2,
and then go. And then once you're done, it's like moving on.
Next.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you die. Oh. I cannot tell you what
Very
that's
serious.
like. 5, 4, 3, 2. You're dead, and then cameras move, and you're lying there and going, "What did I do? Did I do something wrong? Did I upset somebody?"
Oh, how could
I have two new segments for Days.
Okay.
To what?
Segments.
Oh.
What?
One
Go ahead.
Sunny Moment and Will Horton Scene of the Week.
Got it. Okay. Dwight is a huge fan of Will specifically and Sunny, so we will keep that in mind. Maybe we'll add that to one of our moments of the week.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Dwight, for calling
Thank
in.
you.
We appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take this caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Dishin Days. You're on live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Kevin from Jersey.
Hey, Kevin from Jersey.
Hey, Kevin.
What's your question?
Oh my God, I am fangirling out so hard right now. Thaao and Leann, I love you both so much.
Thank you.
So my question is very general. It's when you guys are doing the scripts, how much input do you have in what is written on the script from the writers?
How much input do you have when you get the scripts? How much input do you have with the writers?
I usually.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I personally try to do what the writer has given me because I know they've worked very hard on it, and for me, I'm an actor. I'm to make it work. It is part of it. Sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily how you would say something, and you may need to change a word here and there. And because Anna was gone for a long time, I know that when they first started writing me, I know she's a, you know, kind of a brazen kind of character, but they were making her swear all the time. And I said, but that's not who she is.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily have to swear and to make her brazen. Just let me do that.
Yeah.
And so I did try to X out a few words, although a few slipped through. So, thank goodness my mother is gone.
I think there's one thing she and I have in common, and that is that we learn the writing as it is, because otherwise you can alter a story. You can also alter a story point because you don't know what that head writer is thinking down the road. So if you change a phrase because you think that's not me, well, you're going to alter something. Who knows? To me it's like a recipe. You take one of the ingredients out or two of the ingredients and it doesn't taste the same. So I remember a producer said to me recently, you're one of 3 actors who learns his lines as written. Some actors, because sometimes they're difficult. Yeah. It's convoluted dialogue. So at that time, but that's always a challenge for me. I said to me, and Leann, I know will agree, how do I lift this off the page? How do I make it beyond what they expected? Because they'll give you a story, and I said, I bet they didn't think of this. And that's what you do. And that excites the writer, because then the writer thinks, oh my God, I can add to that. But if you just give what's written, then they go, oh, okay, all right, next. But if you write something they didn't expect, then it gets the writer excited, also gets the fans excited. So, don't presume to change the dialogue, just make it better. Or do it like they didn't expect and give it a different attack on the dialogue. So. So we have to. I think it's very important. Why? I mean, as much as I interpret something and so does Leann, why do I want to take away from what the writer interpreted? Right. It's not fair. They go through difficult times too to try to bring up a story. Let's face it, look how quickly they have to write. So you've got to admire what they do. But sometimes they do go off track or they don't remember something and you're saying, oh, wait a minute, that's not the way it happened. Right.
And so they're amenable to fixing.
They're amenable. So then you go, because when I was going to see Irna when it was Andre before he died. Sadly, very sad. In that coffin with the arm falling out. But one of the things that I remember doing was I said to the writers, wait a minute, when Irna sees me and I'm Andre, isn't she going to look and say, oh my God, he looks like Tony? Or the memory of Tony comes back to her. So her approach to me is not so vindictive or anything. So that changed. So they went upstairs and rewrote the thing. So that was important because, otherwise then it becomes generalized. So
it's just a moment of working together to make sure that the writers remember the connection and the story. Because sometimes, we expect everyone to remember everything. And, that's sometimes impossible.
I don't remember everything.
I don't either.
Anna's been around a while.
Do you guys mind if I ask one more question?
Sure, go ahead.
When you guys are getting your scripts, prior to receiving the scripts, do you have any input in the storyline and where it's going to go? Like, you have meetings with the writers about where you want to see the story go with the character? Or is that something that's totally out of your control?
Most writers don't want to meet the actors because then it takes away from what they're going to interpret. They'd rather not know you because then it'll take them off track. But, most of the time, you don't want to meet them either. Because you want to keep it separate. You do your work, I do my work, and so let me interpret. And if I'm wrong, there's a producer there who will rectify it. So I think, it's.
I think that makes sense because those could be some long meetings.
Yes.
Nobody's got that time. They haven't got the time.
No. You guys would probably be in a meeting now about where the storyline would go if you had to meet the writers. I would be there too, just still trying to input myself into the show.
I want to. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Annie.
I do apologize occasionally, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for me, I like being surprised by what's coming up on the next page myself. So because that's like living as the character is that I'm reading it for the first time and I'm saying it like Anna when I'm saying it, so that it's new and fresh to me when I actually am doing it. So I like to not necessarily know where I'm going with it.
Know that this week that comes, I shot 11 shows in 1 week.
11 in 1 week?
Gosh.
My first day,
Welcome back.
Second day, 3 shows.
Wow.
And then 2, and then 3. By the time I get to the end of it, I didn't think, my producer said to me, my God, I was worried that you could pull this off this way. 11 shows, you did great. And I'm going, I have no idea what it took. I actually went away, because I had my brother and his wife there. So I actually went away down to Mexico, and I rented a condominium, and I studied down there so I would have no interruptions.
Oh, wow.
That's how I was able to come back and do 11 shows.
Yeah.
So I did 21 shows in 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
So when you see the work this coming weeks, know how many shows we did in one day. I'm not just saying me, the other actors as well have to do that, but it shows you the amount, what we're capable of.
Yes.
You know, when you go to the edge, you know, and you think you're going to fall off, something saves you.
Yeah.
And that day's over, and you go home, and you're going, oh, how did I do that? Then I look at the next script, and go, I have to do this again. So
I've always said that soap actors are very underrated, and people do not understand the amount of work.
I will correct you. I will say, not soap actors. I would correct you and say actors in soaps.
Actors in soaps.
Because soap actors then limits you. It's like the only thing you do in your life is soaps. An actor in a soap is hired to do a soap, but actors are also hired to do other things.
Yes.
You know, it's like, because people will try to put you in a category,
Yes.
and you've got to keep changing that. Otherwise, that's how we get labeled.
True.
You know?
While doing the soaps, I've always wondered. And you explored did other shows, Designing Women, Dynasty, and things like that. While doing Days, did you ever audition for other things, want to do other things, or did you feel like I'm just in this for the amount of time that I'm in this for?
Well, when I started on the soap, I had done a few other things before that as well. But for me, it was such a great training ground. But also in those days, they had the power, and you had to give them a month notice before you could get another job or do another job. And you know, you go in and read for something, and you're cast for the next day. You're showing up on set the way nighttime shows work and movies work. So often, you know, I remember I had one show that offered me a job, and I couldn't do it. And Edie Adams wanted me to play her, and I had one day, I was 1 day short, and they wouldn't let me out. And so I was like, I could have taken that and taken that wrong, but I thought, you know what, I'm lucky, I'm working, I'm happy, I'll get out there next year. And I did, and I got lucky and got onto something else. And so I'm happy just to keep trying new things and,
of course,
and playing new things, and
Thaao.
Yes. I remember there was a miniseries that I wanted to do, and they asked for me at Columbia, which is Sony now. And they only wanted me for 2 weeks to get out. I went and auditioned. The role was great. It was a military guy that I loved. I thought this would be a nice change. So I went in, and they said, and then I get a call, and they said, NBC has turned you down to do it. They don't want you to do it, and because you've got story coming. The other times when I did Siddharth, and I remember we were down in Mexico, and the director was not a very particularly nice man, but I was 4 days into it. And Columbia said, we've got to get him back, because they want him back on days. So they said, I thought it was only going to be 4 days. So the director kept postponing, delaying me and my close-ups. And I don't know why. I thought, he's got an instant thing for me. And what happened was, I'm standing there and I said, excuse me, I've got to catch a plane this afternoon. Can we finish the close-ups? And he goes, wait your turn. Nice. I remember him saying. And I thought, oh, okay. And then I went up again. I said, my plane is going to leave in 2 hours, so I really have to leave. And I hear a voice behind, do his close-ups, or because otherwise we're going to be ripping out pages. One of the heads of Columbia came down wanting to find out what was taking so long for this 4-hour miniseries. And he blamed me. He said that I was holding up production. That's the way he did it. And I didn't know. And 6 months down the road, I got an apology from Columbia because this particular director called Michael, which I won't go into his last name, had blamed me on delay. I said, how did I delay the project? Anyway, so it's not always easy to go out and do something else and then come back and get back into your character.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think Ken likes it either.
Yeah.
Ken says, you've hired, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, and there's been times with pilots, getting out to do a pilot, but no.
No, okay. What can we expect this week coming with the return of Andre or
AD?
Yeah, Andre or Tony.
That was clever, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very clever. Because I didn't realize. I thought it was just Andre Tony. So when they showed AD in the laboratory and all the initials, I thought, oh.
You heard Stefano calling him. It was most of the time it was Anthony.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
You know.
So what can we? Any teasers without keep your jobs, but like, but anything that you can tell us to look forward to and what's coming up with our dynamic duo.
I think they're going to see. I mean, I know one producer said that before Leann came in. That Tony he says, Tony's really a nice character, isn't he? And I said, oh, this is working.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to be understanding and everything, but boy, does he turn. I mean, it's kind of good. I mean, he's not as nice as he was, but justifiably with the way people are treating him and everything. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I had with Stacey this week, I think there's some really good, challenging stuff. She was very good. She was very polished. She was very passionate about everything. And so we really gelled very well. And also, I worked very well with Ari. Mm-hmm. Now, when this one comes on, that was the special. That's the special time because to see each other and what she does, which I can't say. Do you remember what happened?
No.
Oh my God! I didn't forget. So I'm sorry, you didn't hear that?
No.
You weren't supposed to. Anyway, but our meeting, the way it happens, it's not one of these, darling, I've missed you, it's been so long. Mm-hmm. She's got the pepper shaker. So
I'm a little pissed. Let's put it this way. He's left me alone for 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's
anger issues for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He must apologize or die.
One of the two.
This is going to be good.
Yeah, this is gonna be
No, it's good stuff, I
Yeah.
think. Someone said, oh, this is the big story now coming up for the summer. And I said, oh, really? Because you don't know other people's stories. Let's face it, who's got time to even turn the page? But yeah, we do. I think Ron did some interesting stuff because, not everybody can hit the character the way you want it. Mm-hmm. But it was challenging and it was kind of great to work with some of the actors I did and also with Deidre.
Yeah.
I like the scenes also with Deidre. So I think the fans will be. I mean, I know people think realistically that the daytime is, when people say, oh, this is ridiculous, oh, this story is so this way or that way, and you're saying, well, I was watching Mission Impossible last night because my nephew's in town, and you look at all of that,
How
and I said,
fantastical it is.
People have to stop looking to see what's wrong because then it tells me something about their lives.
Yeah.
You look to see what's right, and then if there's anything bleeding over, then you try to correct it. But don't go to the judgment right away because they have no idea what it takes for the entire team, the crew, the wardrobe. I mean, the budgets are so tight that I mean,
and it really is amazing what you guys do on that little budget. Like there's fans on Twitter that complain that Days doesn't have a budget, or it's they obviously use the same sets for multiple venues or whatever. But it's like what you guys are able to do with what little money you have is amazing. You guys are able to put on an hour-long show every day without
film and
fail.
television could learn.
I instead of complaining about it, I want to give credit, because it's just amazing.
We always teach people just to be fans with open arms. Whatever the storyline is, just embrace it. Like I feel very entertained with we call it Kristen and Nicole, like the whole mask and all, like. It's fun to see, Kristen as Nicole or Susan or, and then now adding this dynamic to it. The storyline is only going to keep getting more and more fun.
Yeah, I find it interesting that because I did Mission Impossible and did all those masks.
Yeah.
That now I'm seeing it on the show. I feel like they finally caught up. You know what I mean? I love to see all that. You know, just the because I was the first one to do it when I was with Deidre and who was Deidre's husband?
Drake?
No, not Drake.
Roman? Wayne
Northrup.
Wayne Northrup.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen Wayne. But where I'm disguised as Wayne. And the way we did it, which I thought in those days, even though we had a budget, what we did was they put egg stuff on me and the white.
Yeah.
And so all you saw was this and this coming down like this.
Yeah.
So that when it came to here, you stopped and you realize it's taking off the mask. It's just it's not that it was the mask so much, it's your attitude to make it convincing.
Yeah.
And so when we did it that time, even those days they used to say, oh, that's ridiculous, no one does that anymore. Well, excuse me, but it seems to have taken over the film industry. There's been so many masks. You know.
Face off.
And
Yes.
And they actually mentioned Tony being the when he was impersonating John. Was he impersonating John? No. No, Roman.
Yes, I was impersonating Roman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the whole mask and how Dr. Rolf had created this mask to, it was so real that and I like that Ron does that. I like that he reminds us of history because you can't.
I like that too.
Yeah, you can't erase 50 plus years
the
of history.
fans that are still watching this show that watch them from day one.
Yeah.
They remember all of that.
Oh, yeah.
They'll tell me about it, and
it.
they want to see, the connections that go back to that. They
the social media,
appreciate it.
The social media, I must say, have been very kind. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I read about other people, and I'm going, "Oh my God, why do they have to be so mean and so disrespectful?"
Yeah.
They have no idea really. You can sit on your ass, excuse me, and then point your finger and think, "Oh, look what they're doing." Try to put yourself in the position of having to, but they have no idea of the difficulty, and also trying to make with the budgets that we have with wardrobe. That Richard Bluer, who's done a wonderful job trying to on that small budget to put it together, and that's sometimes I'll bring my own clothes in to the show because to me I don't want to take away. So I say to the actors, and bring your own clothes because I said, did they buy you those suits? I said, no, they're my suits. Mm-hmm. So you have to, in some way, contribute. I don't want to look poor and pretend I'm rich.
Yeah.
So I'll bring my own clothes, and, I enjoy that because, let's face it, when she gets dressed and puts the makeup and puts the right shoes on, it's attitude time. You walk on the set, you've got to know that when you go through that door, you better have an attitude that the audience go, yes, they're back.
Yes. Well, I have to be the bearer of bad news. That's unfortunately our time for the show.
So you should have spent less time in the beginning.
I noted. Really noted. Well, we had to get the recap and go over all the stuff and then hype up you guys coming in. But as the storyline progresses, you guys have to come back in and we can talk more about it, and we don't have to be so.
Well, I just want you to know that the week of the 12th we go back. Mm-hmm. So there's more story coming, and there was some story before. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I know it's like recurring in a sense, but I don't mind that because it gives you a break, and also you come back refreshed and you've got new attitude. So I don't mind that system. But we do have some interesting stuff. I don't know yet. I know the stuff we just did a little while ago, but now we have some stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what is this about.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be good. Well, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And we look forward to it.
Yes.
Before we head out, Michael Mattis.
Yes.
Let the kind folks know where they can cyberstalk you.
You can find me on Twitter at MLMattis1 and on Instagram at MLMattis.
And you can find me on Instagram at Chelsea Overrocker and on Twitter at Chels Overrocker.
And you can find me on Twitter at Tammy Govea and Insta Tammy.Govea.
And Leann, do you do the social media at all?
I am. He just gave me a little lecture this morning to get on social media.
I feel like I'm holding up the ship. If you know what I mean.
He is.
Well, Thaao will have to get you on, and as soon as you get on, we'll put it out to everyone. So
You
that
didn't
everyone
even
can
ask
find
me
you.
about the travel to Egypt.
I know.
I know. We
And I brought you. I brought you some
cooking.
photographs to see, but now it's too late.
Okay.
Tony,
I'll
mess this up.
I'll never live this down. Thaao,
Yes, sir.
where can the folks find your photos from Egypt and cyberstalk you?
Well, I'm going to be doing a new app with Michael Fairman for days.
Nice.
I'm going to be probably the travel
Okay.
guy, where
yes.
people can write in and find out, what you do and what you don't do.
Yeah.
That's great.
This particular trip was my 14th trip to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn, and so I thought, we should do that. And share photographs and small stills or movies of where I've been, so that people can be inspired, and then they can write in and say, what's the best way to handle this country or whatever.
Yeah.
So that Michael and I think we're going to do that next week.
That's a good idea to do that. I was thinking you should have some type of travel show or some travel thing, because I think you would be the go-to travel guy.
Yeah, and I think it's a good. Let's face it. It's for me. That's where my knowledge comes from.
Yeah.
By going into other cultures and finding out how your culture and how it comes together.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't and it clashes, then you look to how you get along.
Yes.
Without insulting another culture by ignorance.
Yeah.
Because every country has its purpose, just like we do. They may be smaller and poorer, but to me, the world is a wonderful place, and the journeys of life are some of the most inspiring things you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
So I recommend it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry that we didn't get to those photos now.
You should have seen me on the camel.
On that note, you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony or my website, loungingwithtony.com, and you can find all of us on Dishin Days on Facebook and Instagram and _Dishin Days on Twitter. Thank you guys for tuning in, Leann and Thaao. Thanks so much for coming in.
Yes,
and we'll see you guys next week for another full recap of NBC's #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners.